Well, Dricus, big fight, big.
I don't like to screw with tradition. There we go. Done it since the first one, and it's been going well. So.
It's fair play. It's a big fight week, massive fight, and already the fans are buzzing. You got to bump into your opponent in the hotel lobby. Curious, if anything, what you were able to take away from that interaction.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, like you saw, he's 8 feet tall.
Yep.
Basically, I walked into Godzilla. That's what I had to take away from that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. He was super respectful, and like I always said, if my opponent is respectful, I'll be respectful before the fight. And it looks like there won't be any antics unless something changes. But it was great. I mean, it's good to see that my opponent's healthy. All the questions, is he going to show up? It never bothered me, but I know it was a question for everyone. And the fact, it's not only the fact that I prepared for him and now I'm fighting somebody else. That doesn't bother me. I'm a complete fighter. I think it's the hype of this fight. People want to see the two best fighters in the world go at it. And that's why this fight is so big, because it's truly, and a lot of times it's just not possible to get the two best guys right now because one is injured. And sometimes the two best guys in the world don't want to fight each other. Yeah, because it's tough. There can be only one winner. I want to fight the best in the world, and now people are going to see it. I mean, we're 2 days out. There doesn't seem to be anything that's going wrong. I mean, the weigh-ins need to happen, but all things are looking great. We're here in fight week, myself versus Hamzat, and that's what the fans wanted, and I'm super excited for this.
Yeah. So we kind of could make a good guess what we're expecting from him, right? He takes these massive shots from across the ring, very aggressive, very deep takedown attempts. So with that respect, I can imagine it's almost quite hard to deter him from doing that, right? Like you can't really fake a knee, and he's going to go to the wrestling. So for you, do you have to basically mentally think, I'm embracing it, I might even be aggressive in that to try and get into those positions early to maybe use that as a way to deter him from going back to them?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you can go out there, and a lot of guys have made this mistake fighting him, going in and saying, I need to watch out for that. He's going to shoot. I need to be ready. I have to watch out. And then they don't do anything until he does shoot and gets them down anyway. You have to go out there and fight. Man, didn't you train? I understand that he's really good at wrestling and he's really good on the ground, but I mean, that is the game, I guess, right? It's almost, if you're fighting Israel Adesanya, are you going to start on your bum and try to butt scoot? No, you're going to have to fight him. That is how it is. And that's truly how I feel about this fight. Yes, he is going to shoot. And yes, he is probably going to take me down. But I'm going to shoot too, and I'm probably going to take him down. And I'm going to strike, and I'm probably going to hit him, and he's going to strike and probably hit me. I'm not scared of any of that. I go into any fight with that mindset that you might get hit. You're definitely getting hit. You might get taken down. What do you do after that? I don't go into this fight and look at what Hamzat does so great. I am aware of it and I know it. And obviously when it came to training, I had to get that aspect perfect on the wrestling and grappling aspect. But I'm not going out there to fight his fight. I'm going out there to do what Dricus does. And that is be a world champion.
I also assume you mentioned about getting the wrestling and grappling right in training. The pace, right? We're all kind of assuming this first round is going to be like two cartoon characters sort of fighting in a ball of dust. Do you expect that? And do you have to almost set the pace early rather than wait for him to come and do that to you?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm going out there to fight the way and see what happens. He didn't change his game plan with Robert Whittaker because it was a 5-rounder. So that kind of gives you the sense that he's not going to think about the 5 round where he should be. 5 rounds is a long time. And I am not scared to get into that dark place. We've seen that. If we go full speed, I can fight tired all day. And I've done that many times. So let's go for it. Let's get it from the first bell to the last. Let's go full speed and see who quits.
Of all the descriptions and memes about your fighting style, which is your favorite that you've heard or read?
World champion.
And lastly, I know it's been a respectful week so far, but this press conference is coming up tomorrow. I'm curious if you have your traditional harrowing childhood trauma from him that you can bring up tomorrow if he does get a bit disrespectful.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I can't practice these things, guys. People always they're pretty certain that I practice these things. I can't. I mean, that is as we would say, fire banter around the fire. And if it's in the moment, it's funny. If it's predetermined, it's kind of cringy to me. So I have to do it in the moment. That's the only way I would know if there's something. I would say it the way I hear it. And up until this point, it looks like that won't be necessary. I think it might be just about the fight, which is also great. I mean, the fight's hype is already there. It's big enough. There's no need for fake beef. There's no need to try and... But if that's the route he wants to go, let's do it.
And just to confirm, you do drive a race car as Dricky Bobby with the number 69 on the car.
Yes, and all of those things you just said were on purpose.
Dricus, right here. It seems like the hype around this just feels different from your last few fights. Like, Sean Strickland had a lot of things to say. It was fights to the death. You and Izzy seem to have some issues leading up, but you did eventually shake hands. But this seems very strictly competitive. Like, Hamzat wants the belt. You have the belt. I'm curious, which do you prefer, the build-up with words or this one, like you said, that like the hype is already there? It's just the two best in the world that want to compete.
I have to tell you, I thought about that, and people have asked me about it. Does it get you riled up when you get angry? I never get angry. It's never personal. It's just business. And I've said this many times. You can be the biggest asshole in the world or the nicest guy in the world. I'm still going out there to try and kill you. And it's what I'm here to do. So if we have the back and forth, if we do have the press conference like myself and Strickland or myself and Adesanya, or we have the press conference like myself and Robert Whittaker, myself and Darren Till, there was no bad blood because there was none. It makes no difference to me. When fight night comes, it's not the same. It's not the same guy that's sitting here speaking to you that's getting into that octagon.
I've seen this video on your Instagram. It said, "Come sit," and it's like a video of you walking a wolf on a leash. I'm curious, whose idea was that?
It's actually a company, USN Nutrition, the biggest supplement company in Africa. And that was a real wolf. People were like, "Oh, this editing sucks." I'm like, because it's not editing. Because we had a real wolf in the gym. It was pretty cool having a real wolf there. They're pretty tame, to be honest. And I love the idea. It's on billboards everywhere. I love it.
And, when you get an active champion like yourself and they rack up a couple of defenses, a lot of the narrative goes, oh, when are you going to go get a second belt? But your division has been very active as of late. Obviously, RDR had a big win. Fluffy had a big win. You got the Imavov and Carvalho fight coming up. So I guess, what do you make of your division as a whole below you?
Man, what a time to be the middleweight champion of the world. It's an exciting division, and I love it. I love it because there's a lot of eyes in the division. There's a lot of movement. And right now there's so many guys putting up their hand to being at the top of the division, but after this, not somebody necessarily putting their hand up to be the next number one contender. And that's exciting because now there's 4 guys, immediate guys that I can think of that are right there. Any one of them can be that guy, but I think between them, they are going to sort it out pretty quickly, and that's exciting.
Of the last few performances at middleweight, which one has stood out to you the most, is the most impressive?
Anthony Hernandez, I have to say. His last fight against Elite was very, very impressive. Of course, the fight with RDR and Whittaker was a big test for him, but, it was a very, very, very close fight. Some could say dodgy decision. Others say it's the right decision. I don't even have an opinion on decision. I mean, if they gave that fight to Rob, I would 100% agree. If they gave it to RDR like they did, I 100% agree. It's one of those fights. But Hernandez was the one. Obviously, the Elite is ranked number 9, I think, when they fought. But he looked incredible in that fight. He looked incredible. Nobody's ever done that to the Elite. And I mean, the Elite fought Imavov as well. He's fought some big names, and nobody has been able to do that. So that was super impressive. But I mean, you have Imavov and Kyle, who both of them are on a crazy run too. So it's easier to look good against number 9 than it is to look good against number 2 or 3. I have to tell you that. I know how it feels.
Dricus, the past few fights, maybe like different locations, maybe not the deepest undercards and all that type of stuff. You had to kind of work for it. This is the opposite, right? Like super great fight card here in the States, big city. For you, what kind of spotlight does that put on you? And are you happy that you're finally getting a platform like this and not, being in maybe a more obscure part of the world?
Please explain obscure.
Well, I don't mean obviously UFC is a US-based company. You have not had the chance to defend your title in the United States yet on a card like this. So,
okay. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Everywhere is not my country, so
sure.
It doesn't really matter where I defend it. It's great. I mean, what is great is the fact that I get to see the world. I loved Australia. I loved Perth. I loved Sydney. It was a beautiful place. And it was great to go to Canada. It was awesome. We didn't get a lot of snow where I'm from, so that was cool. And now I'm back in the United States. My first 4 fights in a row, I think, it was Abu Dhabi, and then 4 or 5 fights that was in Vegas. It's amazing to see Chicago. It's a beautiful city. I love it here. I can't wait to stay after the fight a little bit more and really enjoy the city, because I've been here by fight night I would have been here for 3 weeks, but haven't been able to really enjoy the city, indulge. And that is what I will be doing after the fight. But yeah, I've grown quite fond of it, to be able to travel and fight on these different cards. I've never looked at it as I'm fighting on, this is not a great undercard or anything like that. I don't mind. I care about myself and my fight and making sure that the people who do tune in get the show they pay for.
Yeah, and I guess what I was leading to with that question is like you being here on this type of event, you're the champion, you got pay-per-view points and stuff, hopefully, at least for now, for this fight. That's going to change. I guess your thoughts too on that transforming and this probably being your last fight where you're going to be selling a pay-per-view in this format.
Yeah, I think with pay-per-view a couple of years ago was crazy, and it's kind of with more people, more networks buying the rights to show the fights. And in South Africa, for example, we have it on SuperSport. And pay-per-view, the American market is the biggest pay-per-view buyers, right? And the fact that's why when they do have an event in, let's say the Manchester event or anything like that, the events are at ridiculous hours. The fight is because of the pay-per-view to accommodate the pay-per-view buyers, which makes a lot of sense. I understand that. And I think, and I'm being biased here again, this Paramount deal might, I'm not saying it's going to, have a good influence on the fact that they want to do Spain, they want to do South Africa or Africa, because now it's not about the pay-per-view buy anymore. Anybody can have it all over the world. And the fights can actually be, because if they're going to have it in South Africa, the event's going to start at 1 a.m. and finish at 7 a.m. That's ridiculous. How can anybody prepare for that? Sleep during the day, fight during the night. And that's going to make it possible for events like this to take place from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. Anywhere in the world. I think that's a big change, that's a big possibility in the future. So I'm very excited with this deal. And, of course, the more money the UFC makes, hopefully the more money we make.
Yeah, I was going to ask, have you had any conversations with any of the brass of how this could impact, how you're compensated beyond this fight?
No idea. No, I haven't. Like I said, when it comes to the money stuff, this close to a fight, I don't care. Let's win a fight and then we'll talk about that.
Yeah. And last thing, I had Chris Weidman on my podcast earlier this week, and he was basically giving you major props and saying if you win this fight, he thinks you go up to like being probably the 3rd greatest middleweight champion of all time, above him, behind Izzy and Anderson Silva. Would you think that is a fair assessment of where you would fit in with the win here?
Yeah, in terms of the amount of title defenses, for sure. You have to look at it from, I think Chris Weidman is amazing. I'm a massive, massive fan. But you have to look at, when you look at the amount of defenses and you look at a guy like Anderson Silva, for example, I think Anderson Silva is the GOAT because he's the guy. He's always been a hero of mine. But you have to look also in terms of era of title defenses, who these guys fought. Did they fight a guy with a part-time job? that they fight full-time fighters. Was the sport ever as developed as it is right now? But I can't take away from any of those guys. I'm just saying in today's age of fighting, that amount of defenses is not always possible. Mm-hmm. And right now, I still have a long way to go before I'm considered as the greatest of all time, and even the greatest middleweight of all time. But after this fight, I'm right up there. I'm getting very close to that.
What do you think people are going to be saying on Sunday? Because everyone has a take about this fight, but obviously no one knows what the hell is going to happen in there until it actually happens. But people think Khamzat's this huge test for you. If you get him and beat him the way that you want, what do you think everyone's going to be saying? I know some have said you could potentially even be #1 pound for pound with a win here.
Yeah, I think he's exactly as good as people think. And I know he is this massive task. And so was every other guy in front of me. At the stage where I fought them, they were these massive tasks. Look at Robert Whittaker. He hasn't lost in over a decade to anybody else than the champion. Then fighting Strickland, who just beat Adesanya, and beating him, then fighting Adesanya, who, it's Israel Adesanya, one of the best who's ever do the sport. And now it's this guy. And after this guy, there will be another guy where people will say, oh, this is your biggest test to date. Because that's what happens when you fight the best of the best. So yes, this fight is massive. Hamzat is an incredibly good fighter. But what people are going to be saying is the same thing they've said after every single one of my fights. He did it again. Can you believe it? Dricus did it again. I will not doubt him again. Same old, same old.
Dricus, kind of piggybacking off that question, come Sunday, and still, Khamzat's kind of shut down the activity rumors. He says, look, if I win this fight, I would like to fight in Abu Dhabi, but say it doesn't go his way. Do you think that his activity slows down and we don't see him again for a long time? Like, what do you think could be potentially next for him if it doesn't go his way?
That's a very good question. There's no way. Abu Dhabi is like in October, right? No. That's not happening. Firstly, and yeah, I think after Saturday night, it's going to be time to go and maybe do some introspection, saying, okay, how are we approaching this? Because I don't know where he's at on a mental level. I know he has a lot of money, as he says. I haven't checked his bank statements, but he says he has a lot of money. And, he's so certain that he's becoming world champion. And I'm here to say, no, there's no way you're becoming world champion while I'm the champion. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's always, I've tasted my first loss. I know what it feels like. It sucks. It really sucks. But that's where character comes in. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets up from this.
Do you feel like you have an advantage with the gauntlet that you've gone through and how active you've been compared to him?
Yes, I do 100% believe that, especially fighting main events, preparing and fighting 5-round fights against the best of the best, I think that is a massive advantage. And against middleweights at that. So I think that is a massive advantage. But with a guy like him, it almost feels, even when he was inactive for so long, he gets in there and he looks like he's been active the whole time. And he was out for almost 2 years, I think, and just came back and looked phenomenal. So it's some guys just don't get ring rust. I don't believe in ring rust either, but I do believe in comfortability in there. It's not I don't believe in getting rusty when you don't fight, but I do believe that you get more comfortable in there. It's like walking into your gym. You're more likely to try things and be a bit more risky. Risk it to get the biscuit when you get in there because it feels more familiar. So yeah, I think it definitely gives me the advantage, but I don't think it's a disadvantage for him.
Then it seems like you really embrace the city. When did you get here, and what's your experience so far of Chicago?
Yeah, I've been here on Fight Night. I've been here for 3 weeks because it's 7 time zone difference between South Africa and Chicago. It takes about a week for me to get my sleep 100% back, and I just don't. When I get close to a fight, I need everything to be like this. From my sleep, what I eat, my supplements, even my room, everything needs to be perfect. I need to know where I'm going, what the schedule's like, where am I training, and few at home when fight night comes. So I always try to get out here to anywhere I fight as early as possible. And Chicago has been absolutely amazing. I've been here for more than 2 weeks now. It's been incredible. The culture here, the food looks amazing. Haven't been able to enjoy any of it. But the people are really, really nice. Everybody has been welcoming me with open arms everywhere I go. Going to watch all the sports teams with the Cubs, the Bears, the Blackhawks, and going to the United Center, the home of Chicago, Bulls as well. And it's been incredible. Throwing that first pitch, yeah, I felt so comfortable. It really felt amazing. It feels amazing to be here. It's one of the nicest cities that I've ever been in. It's beautiful. The architecture is incredible. And yeah.
Hey, Dricus, 2 questions. The first one is, take into account that I'm biased because I'm French, but you don't seem at all really interested in Nasruddin Imavov. Is it because it doesn't bring as many eyes to a potential fight?
No, it's just because he's not my next opponent. I honestly don't mind. And yeah, it definitely doesn't bring as much eyes because, yeah, I think he's going to be fighting. He's fighting Baral now. And yeah, I just don't see it. People can disagree with me, I don't know. But I think the general consensus is there people that believe that he should have gotten the title shot before Hamzat, because that's ridiculous. And yeah, it's not that I'm not interested in him. He's not the number 1 contender yet. He has that ranking, but he's not the number 1 contender yet. It's for me to speak about him right now is senseless. That's why I've been so dismissive of that. I feel the same about any other guy in the division. I think he's great. He looked amazing against Izzy. It was a tough fight. He caught him with that good punch, but it was a tough fight. But he's been up and down in his career, consistent. This is the more consistent the last couple of fights. But yeah, I think he's a great fighter. Make no mistake. I think he's a great fighter. He's just not the next contender yet. And if he beats Kyle, then sure, then he probably is. But that's not my decision. I go out there and I fight the next best guy.
Okay, and the last question is, I feel like a dick for bringing this up, but the fight against Derek Brunson was only 2 years ago, and the first round, he really had a lot of success in the wrestling and the grappling also. What has changed, and what's when you look back to this fight, which was the first one, and it really didn't go your way? Of course, the easy thing to do would be to compare. Hamzat is even better wrestler, so it could go even worse. And if he takes a submission, it could go.
It can't really go worse than him throwing in a towel. It can't go worse, no. Yeah, take your first round, cool. I'll take a towel.
Yeah, okay, so that's how you see it.
That's the answer. That's the answer, yes.
Thank you.
Dricus, does it bother you coming into this fight? You're the betting underdog, or do you just dismiss that?
It definitely doesn't bother me. I think I've been the underdog most of the title fights. I'm not 100% sure how many of them I've been the favorite or the underdog. Well, all of my fights, because I can't bet on my own fights, and I don't bet on any fights for that matter. But it makes no difference if I'm the favorite, if I'm the underdog. It's not going to change anything for me. I know the people, my friends, family, some of those people, they would probably love it, the fact that I'm the underdog. That's more money for them.
Dricus, we've seen tremendous growth from you over your career, especially in this title run. And if you could go back to your debut fight, sit ringside, and give yourself any words of encouragement, what would those words be?
Do it exactly the same way, man. Don't change anything.
And then do you have any, I know you said you haven't had the chance to try any of the Chicago food yet. What are you looking most forward to after the fight?
Man, right now, just give me a bottle of mayo. It'll be fine. Anything for that matter. But yeah, I've been getting so much mixed opinions on the deep dish pizza. Some people say, and I won't say any names, that it tastes like shit lasagna. other people said it is incredible. You have to try it. So I'm going to have to go find out for myself. It looks amazing. So I'm definitely going to eat a lot of that. How's the beer in Chicago? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm definitely going to find out after the fight. Eat as many wings as I possibly can. And America, I have to say, well done. You have created the best snack on earth, and it's called Cheez-Its, and I'm going to eat boxes of them. Absolutely love it.
Fans call your style very unorthodox. How much is that instinct versus game plan?
That's a very good question. Good way of putting it, between instinct and game plan, because I think game plan is very important at this level. Everybody's fit, everybody's strong, everybody can take a punch, give a punch. You know, there's some people with a bit of an advantage here, but they lack a bit here. And then it comes down to, and I honestly believe that's where the sport is heading. Everybody is so good these days at everything. Guys can defend takedowns, they can wrestle, they can grapple, defensively, offensively strike, everybody. And then it comes, we are going back to the educated brawler. It's almost where we are going. The guy who can defend the takedowns, even the technical ones, can defend the submissions, can go for those submissions, can strike. But it's almost going back to that, the guy who can take the most and give the most. Then I believe that's why my style, that's why we developed this style. It's about putting the pressure on your opponent and throwing what needs to be thrown in that moment. You can have a game plan, 100%. I go out there with a game plan. But game plans change the whole time. You cannot predict what your opponent's going to do. And you have to be able to adapt accordingly the whole time. Be focused, see things in there that you would only see once you're in there. Because it's just not possible to see in watching tape. So, yeah, it's unorthodox, but it's effective.
Saturday night, Dricus, finish this sentence. Don't blink because...
Because otherwise you wasted your money for the pay-per-view. No, don't blink. I can't give you a prediction in this fight. I have to say, I think it's going to be as electrifying as people think. And I'm even looking forward to seeing how this plays out. You know, am I getting this to the ground, getting that finish there? Because how sweet would that submission be? Somebody's going to make a lot of money. And, you know, is this fight going to be standing? You see this so many times, where you, especially when you have two guys that love to grapple, they keep it standing. And it's going to be very interesting to see where this fight takes place. And that plays a big role. For me, I am ready to go out there. And if this fight is only on the ground, so be it. Let's go for it. If this fight's only in the clinch, let's go for it. And if this fight is just an all-out brawl in the middle of the octagon, please, let's go for that.